Morning everyone, I'm Richard Parr and you are watching Sportuccino. It is Wednesday, the 8th of March 2017. It's the morning after another humiliating defeat for Arsenal Football Club in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. It's their biggest defeat ever at the Emirates, losing 5-1, 10-2 on aggregate. For a 7th season in a row, Arsenal have been knocked out in the second round of the competition, the first knockout round after the group stages. What do you think, Arsenal fans? Just how bad was it last night? Did the referee get the decision wrong to send off Koscielny? What do you think of Arsene Wenger? Is it time for him to go? It's been over 20 years at the club, from Highbury to the Emirates. Is it time to say goodbye to Arsene Wenger? We're going to discuss that on the programme this morning. Please get involved in the conversation on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page, and on Periscope and on Twitter. I would love to get your thoughts on all of that this morning. Real Madrid fans, you must be pretty pleased this morning. You went through 6-2 on aggregate against Napoli. We're also going to look ahead to the two Champions League games tonight on Wednesday between Barcelona and PSG, and also between Borussia Dortmund and Benfica. It's all on today's Sportuccino. Please get involved on Facebook and on YouTube. But let's start the day with our morning sports headlines. Arsenal lose 10-2 on aggregate to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Real Madrid joined Bayern in the quarterfinals with a 6-2 aggregate win over Napoli. India levelled the series against Australia with a 75 runs victory in the second test in Bengaluru. And Russell Westbrook scores a career-high 58 points in Oklahoma City's 126-121 defeat to Portland. You'd be absolutely gutted if you were Russell Westbrook, wouldn't you? If you scored 58 points. I think it tied the franchise record for Oklahoma City Thunder, and yet they still lost to the Portland Trail Blazers. You'd be absolutely gutted if that happened. You'd want to celebrate something like that, wouldn't you? Love to get your thoughts on that on the Facebook page and on Twitter and YouTube. All right, before we move on, before we talk everything to do with sport this morning, I just want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by the merchandise page of Sportuccino.com. There's great things such as this mug, t-shirts, hoodies, lots of great things that you can get there. And if you buy the products, you are helping support our show to make sure that we are here for you every single weekday, chatting all things related to sport from a global level based from the UK. It'd be really good if you could help support our show. Why don't we have a closer look at exactly what's on offer at sportuccino.com/merchandise. Yeah, lots of great things there on the sportuccino.com/merchandise page. Please support our show. Well, it looks like the Arsenal fans aren't supporting Arsene Wenger right now. Of course, Wenger and his team lost 10-2 on aggregate. A massive, massive defeat for the Gunners. 10-2 on the two legs. And how important is Laurent Koscielny to your side right now, Arsenal fans? You were 1-0 up at half-time thanks to a goal from Theo Walcott. But again, the goals just came flying in the second half after Koscielny had given away a penalty, given a yellow card. Then it was changed to a red card after the referee discussed it with one of his sideline officials, sent off Koscielny, and then the goals started flooding in from players such as Robin, such as Douglas Costa, I was going to say Diego Costa there, he plays for Chelsea. Douglas Costa, and that first goal from Vidal from his 2 goals was so cheeky, the way he just lifted the ball over Ospina. Almost pretty disrespectful in some ways, and the way it was looking with the players almost lining up to score, it was like one of those park games when you know you're going to hammer this team and it's going to be something crazy like 10 goals or 12 goals and everyone wants to get on the score sheet. That's how it looked at times when Arsenal were down to 10 men and trying to push to get back into the game. But about 200 people staged a protest before the game saying, Wenger, is it time for a change? I'd love to get your thoughts on that on the Periscope page and on Facebook. Is it time for Wenger to go? What needs to change at the club? Does Kroenke need to go? Do you have the right players, but you're not getting the best out of the players? Or are the players not good enough and they need to concentrate harder on recruitment? They need to find areas to fill in. Should they have a better defender to play alongside Koscielny? Do they need a better striker than Giroud? I know Sanchez has scored 17 league goals, 20 goals in total, but is he an out-and-out striker? Do you need a real poacher, a Gonzalo Higuain, for example, a Cavani? Someone who is going to guarantee getting you 20, 30 goals a season. Love to get your thoughts on that this morning. Who would you like to see Arsenal sign? Real Madrid, well done to them, 3-1 winners. Ronaldo returned, hit the post at one stage, but it was that man, Sergio Ramos, a real catalyst for their fight back after they conceded an early goal in the first half through Dries Mertens. Mertens hit the post as well. That would have changed the game completely. That would have put them 2-0 up, 3-3 on aggregate, with an away goal. That really could have changed the game, but it didn't go in. Ramos scored a header, involved in their second goal as well. Morata got a late goal in stoppage time to make it 3-1, 6-2 on aggregate. Ramos has now scored 8 goals this season. Really good record for a defender there. He's a very good player. Remember, he played at right back, now centre back, a real leader. Carlo Ancelotti had some really good things to say about him in his book, Quiet Leadership. Very good book. I'll put a link to that on our Facebook page as well. You should go and listen to that book. Would love to get your thoughts if you like it or not. I really, really enjoyed it. So, is it time for Wenger to go out? Of course, there are 2 games in the Champions League on Thursday. Today's Wednesday. There are 2 games on Wednesday in the Champions League. They are, of course, Barcelona trying to come back from their 4-0 defeat to Paris Saint-Germain. Luis Enrique thinks they can do it. They've scored 11 goals in their last 2 games. He thinks they can score 6 goals against Paris Saint-Germain at home. You've got an in-form Messi, Neymar and Suarez all up your sleeve. Can he do it? Of course, Enrique has said he will be leaving the club at the end of the season. Will that reunite the players? Will it unite them towards this common goal of trying to stay in the Champions League? Or are Paris Saint-Germain just too good? Love to get your thoughts on all of that. No team, of course, has ever come back from losing the first leg 4-0. Will that change at all in the Champions League on Wednesday? The other game, really intriguing tie here between Borussia Dortmund and Benfica. Benfica lead 1-0 from the first leg. Kostas Mitroglou with the only goal there. Of course, Mitroglou, a former Fulham player. He didn't do very well at Fulham. I think he was bought for a lot of money, but doing well for Benfica, scoring in the Champions League. Dortmund, though, have a great record at home, and they are without, though, Marco Reus. Reus, he tore his hamstring at the weekend after they thrashed Leverkusen. Leverkusen, of course, then sacking their manager, Roger Schmidt. We talked about that on Monday's show with Ross Dunbar. Go back and listen to that on Sportuccino. But it'd be an interesting tie as to who you think could win between Borussia Dortmund and Benfica. Love to get your thoughts. Now, I mentioned that we spoke to Ross Dunbar on Sportuccino on Monday, talking all things to do with German football. Go back and listen to that episode. Well, on Tuesday's episode, we were talking all things WWE Fastlane, the latest wrestling pay-per-view on the WWE Network. Gareth Messenger joined me on the program to talk all things WWE, and he was really, really disappointed about the pay-per-view. I, in fact, asked him what he would have felt if he'd paid $45 like some people have to do in America for the pay-per-view subscription. Of course, you can get it for $9.99 on the WWE Network, but some people pay $45. So I asked Gareth how he would have felt if he'd had to pay $45 for the pay-per-view. This is his thoughts of WWE Fastlane.
Previously on Sportuccino.
I'd want a refund straight away. It was arguably one of the worst pay-per-views I've seen in the last 5 years, especially. It was dreadful. Like, not so much the wrestling. There were good elements of the wrestling in there, but the booking is just. If you're an avid WWE or pro wrestling fan, you want to see good booking, and Raw and Fastlane in particular was a classic example of out of touch writers, out of touch producers who are not engaging with what the fans want, and unfortunately, it was a poor show.
Let's go back and listen to that full interview with Gareth as we look back at WWE Fastlane at Sportuccino.com. Would love it if you would have a look and get involved in the conversation. Speaking of conversation, we are active on our Twitter page at Sportuccino, and every single day we have a brand new poll. Let's see what is on the Twitter page today. And it is the main talking point of the day. Is it time for Arsene Wenger to leave Arsenal? Yes or no? I think we already asked this question before, wanting to know, should he leave at the end of the season? We're asking now. Is it time for him to leave now? Should he leave Arsenal? Do they need to make a change? 200 people made a protest before the game, so they certainly believe he should. Would love to get your thoughts on whether Arsene Wenger should leave Arsenal. You know, it's been a long time since he's won the Premier League with them back in 2004. Never won the Champions League with them. I think they reached the final, in 2005? So is it time to make a change? Let's have a look at the result of the last poll. And that was who will finish top goal scorer in the English Premier League this season. Will it be Kane, Lukaku, Costa or Sanchez? And 60% of you say it's going to be Harry Kane. The Spurs forward scored 2 goals against Everton at the weekend. He's got, 3 hat-tricks recently as well. Really, really in form. Lukaku, nobody felt he would be the top scorer. I don't think that's anything on Lukaku, but maybe around the Everton players on his team. 30% of you believe it's Costa. He's really come back to form this season. While 10% of you think it's Alexis Sanchez. Sanchez is looking really good, but as I mentioned earlier, he's not really what you'd call a natural striker. He's definitely a forward. He definitely scores goals, definitely a great player. But is he a striker like Kane, Lukaku and Costa? Also, maybe 10% of you think that because he was on the bench against Liverpool, dropped after his little bust-up with Arsene Wenger. What does the future lie for Alexis Sanchez? We will have to wait and see about all of that. Now, of course, we also have Sportuccino as a podcast. It is on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, and we continue, we put it out on iTunes every single morning from after the show goes live at 8 a.m, we put it on iTunes. And it would be really good if you'd help support the show by subscribing and rating and reviewing the podcast. If you don't know how to do that, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that by watching this promo. welcome to Sportuccino. Would be great if you could help support our show by rating and reviewing Sportuccino as a podcast. Now, a little bit of boxing news for you now, and the cousin of Tyson Fury, Hughie Fury, will now be in a title match against Joseph Parker of New Zealand for the WBO heavyweight title in Auckland on May the 6th. Of course, his cousin Tyson Fury shocked the world when he beat Vladimir Klitschko at the end of 2015. Since then, he never defended his title, has been suffering with depression, has been suffering with using drugs such as cocaine, allegedly, and it looks like he won't be fighting anytime soon. Although he did say on his Twitter page recently that he is looking to be back on May the 13th. Will that happen? We'll have to wait and see. Could he even be on this card with Hughie Fury and Joseph Parker for the WBO heavyweight title in Auckland? Both of these fighters are unbeaten. Got some stats here. Yes, Parker, who's based in Vegas, he's unbeaten in 22 bouts, winning 18 by knockout, while Fury, he's only 22 years old. He is also unbeaten, and he won the WBO Intercontinental title back in April last year. So should be a thrilling fight in Auckland. Looking forward to that one. What do you think? Will we ever see Tyson Fury again? Would love to get your thoughts on that. And of course, we had the big David Haye fight on Saturday against Tony Bellew, where he lost. And Haye says he doesn't want to retire now. He says he'd like a rematch. Will that happen? What do you think? Would you like to see that? Love to get your thoughts. And also, we are going to be looking ahead soon to that huge fight between Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko at Wembley Stadium. Can't wait to discuss that a little bit nearer the time. All right, we have come towards the end of today's shortened Sportuccino. But just before we go, let's get a quick reminder of today's sports headlines. Arsenal lose 10-2 on aggregate to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Real Madrid joined Bayern in the quarterfinals with a 6-2 aggregate win over Napoli. India level the series against Australia with a 75 runs victory in the second test in Bengaluru. And Russell Westbrook scores a career-high 58 points in Oklahoma City's 126-121 defeat to Portland.